I've ghosted them all, sometimes responding, sometimes not. So Terry Phillips and Tara McMillan Gallagher, Angie Wilson, Shauna, you guys texted me constantly. I ghosted you all. Dana Beecroft texted me, and I didn't always respond, but it meant so much to me to have you texting every day. Thank you. And to Sharon Brady, she's in Ireland. We met through a glioblastoma site. Her own husband's running this marathon. She and I also talk nearly daily. So Sharon, if you're watching, thank you. Okay. I also want to mention my high school friends. There's a group chat that we have, and I dominated it. And they handled all these random texts that didn't make a lot of sense with humor and kindness. They're a really, really funny group. And I really appreciated that. So Amanda, Julie, Kelly, the Michelles, Angela, Jennifer, Beryl, Krista, Shanna, thank you. I can't wait to see some of you next week. I leave tomorrow for PEI. I'm gone for a month, guys. So, I also want to shout out to both of our workplaces. Sleep Country has been nothing but generous with new bedding and offers of travel, and Sean coming by the house every Wednesday to teach me how to play the Rubik's Cube and to check in on John. So I really appreciate that. Thank you, Sleep Country, so much. They even sent hours tonight, and they've been super generous. Thank you, Sleep Country. My work, Beecroft Fuels, they're all sitting right there. I can see their faces. Ridiculously supportive. I would receive "we miss you" texts all the time without any pressure for me to return early, and their generosity ensured that during this entire thing I did not have to worry about finances, and for that, thank you so much. I miss my office and I miss my coworkers, and I'm so excited to return. Who says that about work? I do, because I love what I do and I love my people. So thank you guys. So those are all my clappers, but now we have those snack stations where we get to every few hundred miles, and these people kind of are the ones that just kept filling up our cups when we didn't know they were empty. So Chris and Michelle Lancaster and the whole Lancaster family were an absolute constant of support, from staying with Jane and Murray for several days during John's biopsy surgery in Kelowna, to Chris and Michelle coming from Calgary countless times just to hang out, to buy us dinner, to make us dinner, and just basically just hang out and be with us. Thank you guys, I really appreciate it. Thank you. They're all right there. In Starbucks, they would always bring me Starbucks. Lukey, I can't look at you when I do this one. Luke. Luke is my sister wife. I know this is as hard on you as it is on me. I want to thank you for being John's ride and die. I always knew that Luke was going to be a part of the package when I met John, and he has been, but I'm thankful for it. Luke came to see John from Vancouver virtually every other weekend, even when he was fresh off his hip surgery. He came, and it meant the world to John, and in turn, it meant the world to me. The same could be said for Scotty and Bo, who did come from Northwest Territories, by the way, guys. Your visits breathed life into John, and it lightened my heart. I knew that John was reasonably safe with you guys. So when they would come, I was able to just go upstairs and take a night off or an afternoon off and just catch my breath and to catch up on all my below deck TV shows that were piling up on my PVR. So for that, to the gentleman, thank you. Jennifer Burlingame and her sweet family of boys. Jen, funny story, is actually my ex-sister-in-law. But, and she's also a nurse. And Jen was the first person we called when something didn't quite seem right the day that John fell in the ladies' room at the movie theater. I don't know if you all heard that story, but that was what happened. He followed, I'm going off script here. We were at the movies. We were at the new Indiana Jones movie. We came out, he was on his phone and just sort of following where I was going, not realizing I was heading into the ladies' room. So he was almost all the way in when he looked up from his phone and said, "Oh, I don't belong here." And he turned to pivot to go, and boom, down he went. He fell. And I looked at him, I'm like, "What the hell are you doing?" I picked him up, and I said, "Get out of here in a second." I went to use the washroom, I came back out, and I said, "Did you take an edible? Did I miss something? Are you sober?" And he's like, "No, I told you, my leg wasn't working well." And so that's why we called Jen. We were like, maybe it's a blood pressure thing. Anyways, one thing led to another. Jen said, "Go to the emergency room," even though it's a Friday night in Penticton, so you know there was a lot of Narcan happening. We did, and that ER visit changed the course of our lives. If it weren't for her, we would have continued dangerously our life and our lifestyle. And if you know John, he could have had a seizure while driving, or even worse, while riding his motorcycle. So if it were not for Jen's advice, things could have ended differently, faster, and more tragically, if that's even a thing. Jennifer has been with us since then, every step of the way, explaining the medical jargon, even when she was telling me the really hard truths. I needed to hear it, and she told me. She was vital in advocating and expediting John's care. I'm not going to say she bullied all the nurses on our floor, but they certainly worked faster and more efficiently when she was around visiting us. Most importantly, she has been a constant sort of support to me, listening to me vent and cry. She told me when I was overreacting, and she told me when I was right. She and Glenn witnessed our tiny little wedding and helped me pull off John's last Super Bowl party, with Glenn carrying John up and down the stairs to the living room. And then 2 days later, carrying him to my car when it was time to take him to hospice. That worked out, it's good.
Perfect timing.
Yeah. I'm not done with Jen yet, there's still more. If you can imagine, guys. During our last days, Jen sat vigil with the kids and I during his last 72 hours. She explained what was happening in his body at the time. She explained what the kidney failure would look like. And using Maddie's brand new stethoscope, she listened to his heart as it stopped. I will never, I can't look at you. I will never be able to repay you for all you did for us over the last 8 months. Your marathon table was really well stacked, really well stocked. Also, Jen recommended that I watch Love is Blind, which I binged 13 hours in 2 days.
So good.
Oh my God. That alone deserves a shout out. Jen, thank you.
Love you too.
All right, I'm almost done, guys. Finally, a tough one, guys, to my kids. Both of them, we talk a lot about Maddie, but both of them were hands-on. Jacob, you were the muscle. John had a lot of seizures, guys, and he'd end up on the floor. A lot of time those seizures happened in the shower or while he was getting dressed. And Jake was there, and even when John made it weird, because if you know John, he made it weird, he would comment, well, this is romantic, while he had no pants on or was fully naked, and Jacob had him. But Jake, you were still willing to pick him up off the shower floor and to hold him steady until it was someplace we could set him down, or until the seizure passed. Your quiet, independent nature allowed me to focus on John when I should have been more of a mother to you. I know that being 18 is hard, but you handled all the bumps in the road like an adult, and I want to thank you for that. Thank you. Maddie. Everybody already knows Maddie. You have so much on your plate. Nursing school is no joke, but you managed to maintain a near perfect GPA while coming home every day from class with a smile for John. He would light up when you walked in the room. Your energy and your new nursing knowledge helped me to relax. It was easier to take care of John when you were just in the house, even if you weren't helping at the moment. Just having you there helped me relax. You weren't on the sidelines cheering me on. You were running this marathon with me. I've never been so proud to be your mom. So Maddie, thank you. And that's all my thank yous, guys. Everybody that's here, thank you.
Someone's cutting onions back here, so thank you so much, Susie. That was amazing. And to keep the onus on me for a little bit while longer, I would now like to invite to the stage Jennifer Burlingame. Please.
Well, thanks, Susie, for making this a little more difficult. I love you, thank you. Okay, so she beat me to it, but for those of you that don't know me, my name is Jen, and I'm technically Susie's ex-sister-in-law. But this is not how I see her, and this is not how she is in my heart. She's always been my sister. And therefore, John was my brother-in-law. That's how I referred to Johnny. My family and I loved him as Uncle Johnny. Today I have the honor of reading to you a eulogy from Adele, Jonathan's mama, who can't be here today because of her own medical issues. So I'm going to read this to you guys as if it were from Adele. First of all, we would like to thank everyone for being here today to celebrate John's life. 49 years of life is not enough. But John lived it his way, and along the way he gathered a lifetime of the craziest and most loyal friends, like a rock star. How do we say goodbye? Well, we don't. We continue life as an adventure and make sure to add him in our lives each and every day, till we meet again. Around every corner, enjoy and think of what sarcastic line John would say in this situation. If he mocked you, he loved you. But even better, he could laugh himself whenever he did a fucking retarded thing. His lingo never had to be politically correct. As an older brother, he loved to bug, and he loved to go on adventures with his sister. He could mess with her, but no one else could, or watch out. They were a loyal team to each other and kept many epic adventures a secret. In the well. He was very proud of his niece, Brooklyn, for becoming a registered nurse in 2023. And when they were together, the two laughed, cried, and created lasting memories in August of 2023. Although he only met his little niece London once, he was able to follow her life via Facebook. And being a fellow Gemini, they could have been two peas in a pod or just two brats with mischievous smiles on their faces. John was a mama's boy and the best son and man in my life. So much like his papa, I hope they have met again. The party never truly started until they walked into a room. Lastly, we would like to thank Susie for being a devoted wife to John in his final days. Maddie and Jake, John loved you, and he loved you like his own. He teased the hell out of you, but that was how he showed his love to you without it being weird or awkward. Everyone, please enjoy your day and always keep John in your hearts and a smile on your face. Jonathan, you will be missed, and we love you with broken hearts. Chat later. Love, Mama.
Thank you for that. Oh, okay. Okay, now who am I? Why am I up here? That's a great question. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Bo Stobbs, and I've had the immense privilege and pleasure of being part of John's eclectic circle of friends for over 20 years now. Our friendship spanned decades, adventures, and countless moments that are etched in my heart and mind, but also more than a few memories that have a scene or two missing for one reason or the other. One thing I do recall, though, is basically how I first met John. So, if you will, let me take you all the way back to the summer of 2004. Just paint a picture here. Facebook was just starting out, Shrek 2 was killing it at the movie theater, and Usher's Yeah could be heard blaring out of every Honda Civic in Red Deer. Oh, and white sunglasses everywhere. It truly was a mad time. It was around then is when I started working at Visions Electronics in Red Deer. And not too long after that, John joined the team. And we were part of the sales force there, tasked with convincing customers of the marvels of the latest technologies. Impossibly heavy TVs and stereos and satellite dishes, and don't forget these groundbreaking digital cameras that could hold 16 images with a resolution of 3.2 megapixels. We truly were living in the future. So our friendship, though, however, it began not amidst the buzz of electronics, but one under a patio umbrella instead. It was a fateful day that my desire to get out of the store, my hunger, and my complete lack of any transportation anyways, led me to extend a simple and humble invitation to the new colleague to go for lunch. And as the day was a particularly nice one, we of course opted for a patio. And what pairs better with the patio and sun but a jug of beer? Well, that one jug went down a little too good, so we had a second, and we were running out of time. We needed to get back to the office. When we looked down, and a third mysterious jug appeared on our table that we didn't even order. Was this a serendipitous gift from the universe, or was it a challenge set forth by a waitress who was no doubt impressed by our good looks and charm? Regardless, who could refuse such a call to glory? And so, with the clock ticking and less than 10 minutes to spare before we were due back on shift, we faced the challenge. And true to the spirit of our budding friendship, we accepted and succeeded. We polished off that extra jug and got back to work, no worse for wear, and just a little bit late. But that's okay, because what birthed out of that was a great friendship, and the makings of that wonderful afternoon and a tradition of 3 jug lunches was born, because now we knew we could do it. During that meal and the subsequent drinks after, we laughed with each other, we learned about each other, and solidified a friendship that I thought would last the rest of our lives. I was half right. Our friendship did last a lifetime, his. But it's the moments like this, and that unexpected third jug of beer are the gifts that continue to give us joy, even in his absence. So now I would like everyone to kind of join me on a journey through the life of our dear friend John. So let's pause for a moment to reflect on the path he traveled, the lives he touched, and the enduring legacy that he leaves behind. The legend he was born in Thunder Bay, Ontario on June 4th, 1974. He was a soul destined for adventure, his eyes alight with the promise of countless journeys and untold stories. From his earliest days, it was evident that he was not one to tread lightly on the well-worn paths of life. Instead, he sought the road less traveled, and his heart leading him to the landscapes of British Columbia. Here among the towering mountains and lush valleys, John truly found his home. Other than a brief stint in Alberta, where I and many others had the pleasure of joining his coterie of friends, John spent most of his life in various parts of BC, skiing, golfing, motorbiking. His professional endeavors were as vibrant and varied as the man himself, from delivering sandwiches in Vancouver to managing a dollar store to even rolling a garbage truck. He sold electronics and hot tubs in Red Deer, and he sold dreams in Kelowna. He even found himself in the oil fields for a time, but that's the dark part of the story. But at the heart of John's legend were the people he loved and the lives he touched. While we don't have time for me to list all the friends that John's collected over the years, you know who you are, and you know that those bonds shared between you and him were special, that they meant something, and that they will continue to always be. Along those lines, I know that I can only speak of the personal experiences that I've had, and the personal experience I've had on the chapters of John's life that I was there, that was be a part of. The times and places that we've crossed over, the Venn diagram of our existence, just meeting up. So, once again, I would like to remind everyone to come up after we're done and add to the story. Help fill in some of the blanks with your own memories, your own stories, your own tribute, because they're your stories. Your moments with John, and those are the things that will truly honor him moving forward. Now, I can probably speak all day. I'm not going to, but of our many misadventures we've had over the years, wasted hours that were never wasted. I could speak of all-inclusive liquor fights, to 3 a.m. turtle races, to getting arrested in a third world country, to reluctant nights spent in karaoke bars, days spent on the golf course, or weekends lived in the course of an evening in Las Vegas. But I continue to tell you the legend of Johnny. There is one story, though, I want to tell. It was a few years ago, and my family and I had just escaped from the Arctic tundra of Yellowknife, and actually we were staying at a family's place just outside of Kelowna. And that's where our boy, Johnny, was living at the time. And so my wife and I invited John out for dinner one night. And he had the audacity to ask if he could bring someone. A girl, someone.
Susie.
Yeah, and that is how, no, that's awkward. Okay, sure, yes, and that's how I met Susie. While I do not recall the details of the meal or what we talked about or the visit, I do remember a few things. I remember how personable and nice this girl that John brought was. I remembered how she laughed at all his jokes in a way that let you know she actually thought they were funny. And I remember the way John acted around her, like two old souls meeting again. But what I recall the most was later that night. Susie had to get back into town, so she left us boys up to our own devices. And hours later, me and him were crushing beers in the hot tub. And it was then, in that quiet moment, where I asked him about Susie. And in that moment, I saw a side of John that I really hadn't seen before. That was it. She was it. I heard John talk about many people, but none quite like this. So there in that hot tub, he told me this time was different. Everything was different. She was different. And as all of you can attest, John's instincts were spot on. In Susie, John found not just a partner, but a partner in crime, a ride or die, a reflection of his own heart and spirit. And man, I just can't say enough good things about our girl Sue. Sue-kadoo over there. Sue found herself in a situation that words can hardly describe. An unimaginable, relentless test of spirit and heart that most cannot even begin to fathom to undertake. While we all felt the sting of loss as cancer claimed John, many of us so from a distance, clinging to updates, text, phone calls, and for the very fortunate few, precious visits. But Sue, she was there every single day in the trenches, facing the raw and painful realities of John's battle. Her journey with John, especially through the storm of diagnosis, treatments, chemotherapy, radiation, and beyond, revealed the depth of her courage and the endless strength of her love. Each day she was there, assisting John with the smallest to the most daunting tasks. Her presence a constant source of comfort and love for him. Her role transcended that of their loving relationship. She was John's anchor, his calm in the midst of an unfathomable storm. She navigated the tumultuous waters of hope and heartbreak, managing medications, aiding with everyday tasks, and providing endless emotional support, all while bearing the heavy knowledge of a future that they would not share. Yet through it all, Susie stood as a beacon of hope and resilience. Not only for John, but for all of us. She kept us connected to John's journey, allowing us to share in the love, the laughter, the challenges, and the tears. Her sacrifice and unwavering spirit have left an indelible mark on all our hearts, teaching us the true meaning of love and devotion. So tonight, as we honor John, let us also celebrate Susie. Let's recognize her incredible strength, her selfless love, and the profound impact she's had. Susie, you truly are the fucking goat. An angel in human form who has shown us what it means to love unconditionally and fight relentlessly for that love. Your grace, courage, and undying love for John have not only touched his life, but also left an lasting legacy of inspiration for us all. I may not have lost a brother today, but I'm proud to say I got a sister. Now, I'm sure many of you, all of you, can recall the moment when you heard the news about Johnny's cancer. For me, that moment unfolded on a golf course. Just so you know, I'm from Yellowknife, I gotta mention that again, and our golf course is a little bit different than what you're kind of used to. Other than the constant threat of polar bear attacks, the clubhouse being an igloo, and automobiles instead of golf carts, the main difference is the entire course is basically one giant sand trap. And as we have snow about 49 and a half weeks a year, it would be too expensive to maintain the grass. So instead, you have to carry your own. What I mean is you actually buy like a chunk of AstroTurf and you keep in your golf bag and you take it out, lay it on the ground, hit the ball, and then hopefully you remember to pick it up before you drive or get it because you'll get it need it on the next shot. Yeah, it's definitely something to experience. Anyways, I remember playing and my phone's notifications going off in the cart, ding, 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 ding. And it was just nothing new. I just figured that the gentlemen were discussing something sports related or sharing some of the darkest memes you've ever seen. So I just turned down the ringer and kind of ignored it. I was wrong. When I finally checked my phone, the last message that I was from John complaining about the pineapple that they'd give him at the hospital. Trying to figure out what we were talking about. He turns out that he was letting us know that he's been having small seizures, and he said, it feels like my legs while the rest of my body was sober. He always had a way of explaining things, so I understood. And it was at that point I read up in the chat to find him telling us that they had found a mass on his brain. And that's the day the world changed. So, in the face of John's unsettling news, our instinct was to cloak the concern with dark, sardonic humor, a defense mechanism honed over the years. We traded jokes, perhaps too sharp, perhaps too dark, trying to laugh off the creeping dread that settled in the pits of our stomachs. It was our way of fighting back against the uncertainty, a desperate bid to keep the looming shadows at bay, yet beneath the veneer of our wisecracks and jests, the fear and the full weight of the situation were palpable, impossible to ignore. And then, a few short months later, came the hammer blow, the diagnosis of the glioblastoma, complete with a terminal prognosis that left us all reeling. I remember in the aftermath turning to Google in a frantic search for understanding, for hope. I wanted to learn about what John was facing, yes, but it was more than that. I was searching for a miracle. I was looking for those stories of unlikely recovery, the ones that say, patients named John have a 98% chance of survival, or some other reassuring statistic. What I found, however, offered no such comfort. The reality of the situation was dark and unforgiving, and I have no doubts that upon hearing of the severity of the situation, each of us were thrust through a range of shock and disbelief, or the initial companions refusing to accept that someone as full of life as John could be facing such a grave challenge. This disbelief soon morphed into anger, a fiery indignation of the unfairness of it all. Denial hung around us like a thick fog, a desperate hope that maybe, just maybe, there's been some type of mistake. And then the deep, pervasive sadness sets in. and a constant companion that reminded us of the very harsh realities. The journey through grief was a path that we all walked together. We all walked both together and alone, united in our love for John and in the shared understanding of the depth of our loss. Now, though, I was lucky, as a few of you were, to have the opportunity to visit with him before the cancer progressed too far. Last September, the gentleman, Luke, Scotty, and I, we came out to visit and made our way from the corners of the world. And during one of the days of our visit, Susie graciously allowed to let John come out and play. Now, like she mentioned, probably seizing on the opportunity to get some tranquility and let's just say get away from the lively atmosphere that we brought to the house. Yeah. But before we left, she very carefully, slowly, and loudly laid out some rules so that we would understand them. No drugs, keep the liquor to a minimum, and whatever you do, never ever feed him after midnight. Oh, no. Sorry, I'm thinking of the Gremlins franchise. Sorry about that. Anyway, so we go back to the Best Western, which some of you are familiar with now, and I bring our boy back to my room to get changed, get a swimsuit on and stuff like that. I step into the bathroom, and I walk out a few minutes later, and Johnny is frantically ripping into let's say a gummy, and that I had left on the counter. It was also at that point when I noticed he was on his second beer. He was off the leash and he was ready to go. Now, that sun-drenched day by the pool, punctuated by laughter and shared stories, became a sanctuary from the storm. It was as if, in those few hours, the looming shadows that were held at bay for at least a while, allowing us to bask in the pure joy of friendship and normalcy. It was a time of pure, unadulterated happiness where the reality of his illness was momentarily cast aside, allowing us just to be friends in the moment and revel in the simplicity of being together for what may be the last time. And though I would return to Penticton again after that visit, it was during that particular trip that I last saw John in his element, truly seizing each moment. Whether it was belting out tunes of karaoke that night or rolling crew thick into a bar and ordering a drink at lunch. He was embracing life with an intensity that was both heart-wrenching and heartwarming. It wasn't just a visit. It was a vivid final chapter in our stories together and a poignant reminder of his indomitable spirit. A testament each to the capacity to embrace each moment with open arms. And as time marches on, those moments by the pool stand as a poignant echo of a time when in the face of his battle, he chose to live fully in it. It's a memory that, amidst the pain and the loss, it reminds me of the beauty of life as John saw it. A series of moments to be cherished, a life to be lived with gusto, no matter when the shadows may fall. And as we stand in those shadows of his loss, feeling the darkness that may indeed fallen upon everyone in this room and those watching from home, it's a poignant reminder of the light that John brought into all of our eyes. His was a perspective that saw life not just as a journey to be endured, but as a series of moments to be savored, one woven with laughter, love, and the pursuit of adventure. Reflecting on what I'll miss most about John isn't just the journey through the memories, it's acknowledging the void his absence will leave. He had this infectious laugh, the kind that could just light up the darkest of rooms and lift the heaviest of hearts. His humor was a gift, one he shared generously, making every moment spent with him a joyous occasion. He also had this unparalleled ability to make you feel like you were the most important person in the room, truly seeing you and ensuring you felt his friendship most palpably. He was a beacon of light in a sometimes too dark world, always ready for the next adventure, yet wise enough to navigate it with care. Most of the time. Now, the memories of our crazy nights in Vegas and those endless days on the golf course are treasures I'll carry forever. I'll miss our debates over movies and the playful arguments over things that, looking back, never really mattered. But beyond those memories, what weighs heavily on my heart is the loss of potential. The stories we won't get to create, the adventures we won't get to embark on, and the future shenanigans that will never unfold. It's the loss of possibility, the silence where there once was been laughter, the empty space where John would have stood, ready to dive headfirst into whatever misadventure we plan. I'll miss the camaraderie, the shared laughter, and the bond that tied us together. For all of us, losing John means losing part of our collective, a chapter that ended too soon in the book of our lives. I will miss my friend, and we all will. But his spirit, his laughter, and the love he shared will forever be part of us. In remembering John, we keep alive the essence of a man who was not just a friend, but a brother to those lucky enough to have known him. And speaking of brothers, I would like to call forward two people who exemplify the depths of that brotherhood. So it's my honor and to invite Luke Hemming and Scott Williams up to the stage to lead us in a toast. Now, Scott's relationship with John began shortly after mine. Walking into the faithful visions and read a young and experienced Scott here was given a shot at sales and ultimately at life by John. From co-workers to roommates, their bond deepened, rooted in shared experiences that spanned cities, countries, and countless adventures. It was a friendship that evolved into a brotherhood and marked by laughter, support, and enduring love. Despite distance, their bond remained unshakable and a testament to the profound impact that John could have on lives. Now, what can be said about this tall guy crying behind me? His friendship was forged with John in the hellish landscape of the Alberta's oil fields, and it stands as a testament of the unexpected gifts that life can offer. For him, finding John was the culmination of a life searching for something he didn't know was missing, a friendship that quickly deepened into brotherhood. These self-proclaimed hetero life partners navigated life with a passion that was contagious. Their journey together, they demonstrated how genuine friendship can offer solace in times of struggle, amplify joy in moments of happiness, and provide a sense of belonging, transcribes description. Pour some shots, boys.
Yeah, crack the bottles. Crack them. So there's chocolate whiskey and peanut butter whiskey, which are two of John's favorites. They're disgusting. What?
And apparently garlic moonshine. I don't know about that one.
Sure, great. You have to take one of these shots.
Yep, get your glass up.
We need the double shot.
Cheers.
Everyone raise a glass. To John.
You undersold how bad that was.
What is that?
I taste the chocolate.
Was it chocolate?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Now I
So as we come to the close of the scripted portion of this evening, I once again want to extend a heartfelt thank you to each of you here tonight and everyone watching from home, wherever that may be. To Susie and the family, your strength and love has been a beacon of light during the darkest times. Your unwavering support and care for John have touched us all deeply. You've shown us what true love looks like, and for that we are eternally grateful. Reflecting on this, I'm reminded that John was unique in how he connected to each one of us, leaving a distinct mark on our hearts. Your story with John, the memories you hold are unique to you. They're treasures. Cherish them as such. Celebrate them, for they are the legacy of a man we all came here tonight to celebrate. So remember him in your own way, be it a silent toast on the golf course after a great drive, a smile in honor when the Eagles finally managed to pull off a win, or just sing a little louder when one of his favorites comes on the radio in your morning commute. Remember, John's story doesn't end here. It continues in each and every one of us, in every memory we cherish, and every moment we share in his honor. So as we leave here tonight, let's carry John's legacy forward. Not just in grand gestures, but in everyday moments where his spirit feels mostly alive. And finally, let's not say goodbye. Instead, let's promise to keep sharing our stories with each other, the big and the small, the funny and the poignant, because each story shared is a thread that keeps John's memory woven tightly into the fabric of our lives. And so with that, I invite anyone and everybody to come on up, share a memory, a laugh, or even a tear. Let's celebrate John the way he would have wanted it, with stories, with laughter, and with love. But before I relinquish this mic, I just wanted to say once again, thank you from the bottom of my heart for allowing me to be part of this beautiful tribute and to go on this journey with you. John may have stepped into the next adventure, but he leaves behind a trail of life for us to follow. A reminder to live fully, love deeply, laugh often. Here's to you, John, a friend, a brother, and a fucking legend. Thank you.
Attaboy, Bo!
All right. I can do
We
this.
welcome back to the stage Luke Hemming.
You got it, You can do it. Might need to raise the microphone a little higher.
We built these for tall people. Okay, this is gonna be really tough.
You can do it. We love you.
John, you got it, big guy.
Chug it. Chug.
Oh, there you go. Smooth tissue. 1 second.
Hold on. You need
Take the whole
another,
box.
you need another peanut butter whiskey shot.
Take
Chocolate shot. Take
a shot.
I'm okay. We got this.
I can come grab your bum if you want.
You better after. So first off, I'm going to say thanks to Sue, Madison, and everyone that helped our wonderful friend John through to the very end of this life and into the unknown. It warms my heart knowing that John was loved by so many, and it was never only this time to me. In my 43 years, I've lost many friends and family, but this one hits the hardest. Losing my best friend to cancer was not the way it was supposed to be. Losing my friend to cancer was not the way it was supposed to play out. And it's, as you all do, it's great sadness. This world is now a truly darker place without John in it. But being around so many great people who love John like I did, it is a testament to how great of a man he was. And he will never be forgotten. Oh, shit. Not very great. Not very great. I'm like a third of the way. I'll get there. It's been my privilege to know John for 17 great years. And it'll be one of my greatest joys, having been his friend. Our origin story started meeting when I met my hetero life was in Red Deer, Alberta. I moved there from Ontario. I knew my brother, his girlfriend, who I didn't like very much, and nobody else. Nobody. I was supposed to be a medic, and after reading about 10 pages into the book, I realized I just didn't want to take care of these people, so I decided I was going to find something else. So my brother's girlfriend, the one thing she was good for, she got me a job at a pipe mill. And so I'm at the pipe mill with no knowledge of what I was about to do or where I was about to go. And all of a sudden I met this guy. We were sat down at the hydro station. Now, most of you don't know what that is, but we had to test the pipes. And here sat this short, stocky, bald guy who was about to teach me on how the hydro machine worked. The machine had 3 buttons. They were labeled 1, 2, and 3, and John decided that he had to tell me how this machine worked. So after the description that took about 3 seconds, John and I laughed about how the simplicity of our task was in front of us. And we sat there, and thus began our immediate friendship. It was kind of like a Simpsons episode I recall fondly, where Homer met former President Gerald Ford. We basically started off by saying, like, do you like nacho? Do you like football? I like football. All right, we're friends now. And he invited me out. I knew nobody in Alberta. I didn't know where I was. I was living in the basement of somebody's house. I still don't know. And yeah, John was gracious enough to invite me out, and thus began our life together. We had a lot in common. Grew up in Ontario, unfortunately. Enjoyed sports, and shared the greatest haircut known to man. Bald. Though John would have enjoyed having his blonde locks back, he looked awesome with a bald head. And it was one of our friendship's greatest tragedies not rocking the Dr. Evil and Mini-Me costume on Halloween. It was in our plans. John was a very special person to be around. He was fun-loving, charismatic, constantly laughing, and drawing out every moment he could out of life.
More beer.
I'm like halfway. Sorry.
You can do it. You got this.
Picture me naked.
I've seen it. I've seen it. Constantly laughing and enjoying each moment to the fullest. His very dark sense of humor was magical to me. And I will never forget the memories of his humor getting us through some really dark times. Through the early days, I recall our favorite line before heading to our adventures in the night. What are we going to do tonight, Brain? Same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try and take over the world. And we really did. We really did. In our world, we tried to take over the world. We found ourselves working together in search of dinosaur blood. And then after the workday finished, we'd finish at our favorite watering hole. Both, for all of you who know both, practically daily, so that we could start our adventure. We spent endless nights together, enjoying great company and laughs. In Red Deer. In Red Deer. It was a good time. I'm getting there, I promise. I promise I'm almost there. Eventually moving back to BC in 2011, which is where John was truly in his element. From the slopes of Big White to the beautiful Okanagan golfing, John did as much living as he could. When he wasn't selling dreams at his favorite and longest 10-year job, at sleep. When I came back after my spent a few years down in Arizona. For those who know me, John was gracious enough to gift me with my first ex-wife on his 40th birthday party. Thanks, John. After I moved back from that stint, everyone's got to get their first one out. Practice one. Yeah, that's right. I came back, and when John met Sue, I could tell there was something different about John.
Yeah, you share.
Yeah. I finally felt that he'd met in person. And as someone who loved John very deeply, it was a gift to see someone love him for who he truly was as a man. And though John drug his feet for a couple of years, he married his partner in crime, which I feel was one of his greatest. As a statement in sickness and in health, Sue was there for it all. And he could not have found a better woman to be married to. I'm trying. I am trying. You could not find a better woman to be married to the very end. I can't state how caring and lovely I can't state how caring and lovely Sue fought this battle with our dear friend. And we all owe her a debt of gratitude. Cheers now. To Sue.
To Susie.
I'm getting there. I promise. Sorry. Sorry, I didn't quite think of it as hard. That's what she said.
Title of your sex tape.
Days before John's passing, he gifted us with one wonderful visit. Though tired of putting up a tough battle with Bobby the brain tumor. It's a wrestling reference, and John was an avid fan of greased up men, great players, battling it out in a ring. During this visit, John looked tired, worn out, and ready to rest eternally. Surrounded by Sue, my wonderful partner Denise, and Sophie the cat, John decided it was time to say hello and goodbye to me. Like wakening from a deep sleep, John appeared and was immediately himself. He hugged me with warmth and compassion, knowing we didn't have much more time left. And we both cried just a little. Spending this much too short time together at the end was one of my greatest gifts that John ever gave me. Saying goodbye to my hetero life before he went back to rest a few short days before his passing is a moment I'll never forget and always remember. For 17 years, we ventured through life as life mates, having great times and with everyone here. And for those memories, I'll forever be grateful. I look forward to sharing John's stories and adventures with all of you in these days, months, and years to come. I love you all. And to John, I look forward to enjoying some beers. And to John, I look forward to enjoying some beers, tons of laughters, and many more rounds of golf together in the next life. They say that legends never die. And John, you were legendary in life. And until we meet again, I'll miss you forever.
Cheers.
To John.
Johnny.
Thanks for bearing with me.
John Luke.
Follow the wife and the best friend. Should be good. First of all, glasses are staying on because we're Whitefish, Montana. The one night Johnny decided to wear a hoodie and sunglasses the whole night. I seen a girl grab those glasses to look at his eyes, and he slapped her hand so hard and said, "The glasses stay on." And she walked away, and he's like, "I don't care. Glasses stay on." So tonight, no other reason. Glasses on.
No other reason.
Sorry, man.
Is that the chocolate or the peanut butter?
Chocolate.
First of all, I'd like to thank Sue. You're one of like 4 people who've seen John Neg as much as I have. Very exclusive club. Jake's apparently for the club now too. Not by choice, but whatever.
I unfortunately have to put my hand up.
I went from like 3rd to 6th in a couple of months. Basically, I worked at Visions. I walked in one day, and this guy who had as much hair as Bo, but blonde, so you kind of barely see it, but it was kind of there. Had an interview with him, and he said, "Fuck it, I'm gonna hire this guy." And I worked at Visions with him, had no skills, early 20s. Didn't know who Motley Crue was, but wasn't a fan of that. A couple years later, we're floor seats of Motley Crue, so I made up for that, Bo. And then we started working together, started living together, and next thing you know, he's my brother. We went on many adventures, and the asshole moved away. Went to BC, which was like 600. I'm like, "You're not done. We're going to keep doing this." So a couple times a year, I try to make it a big white, go skiing with John, go golfing with John, drinking with John, Vegas, Montreal. I can't tell you many of those stories because here is mom's home, so I can keep it PG, I guess.
I've already heard them.
You've heard what we wanted you to hear. Yeah. So through the good and bad, I was with Johnny for the years. All the adventures went on. Like couldn't ask for a better guy. We go to trips together, trips as groups, didn't matter. We'd always figure out a way to hang out, have fun, do things the Johnny and Scotty way, which was mostly legal, but Mexico, we already mentioned part of the arresting, but we're not gonna get into that one. So. Can't talk about most of our trips, but yeah, we had a good time. Everybody that was there knew who we were by the end of the night, whether they liked it or not, and that was just kind of how it was some nights, and that's about it. So the tall guy had the meet, the short guy had the long speech. I'm gonna do the little one here, just makes it easier for everybody. Cheers to Johnny. We lost a legend today. I think it'd be the same, but we'll get through it.
To Johnny.
So I'm not going to start just calling out names and pointing at people. Right, who knows? But yeah, so what we're thinking, yeah, the mics will be open here. If anybody does want to come up and say something, you're welcome to it. This is the time. Take a shot in his honor if you want. Just the opportunity is here for each and every one of you. If not, please imbibe, socialize, drink, come together as people, as family, and...
We have a bit of a display.
Yep. At what time?
When people are done chatting.
All right. And there is a surprise. And
A little later.
a little later. So I'm just going to tease with that, and that's that. So no one has run away yet.
Post-credit scene.
Yeah, post-credit scene, yeah. Yeah.
So, what time is it right now? 7:30. So I would say in about 10-15 minutes, I can't say much more, but can everybody please stay present? And we are going to go outside and just cue, please. And that's it. Cryptic. Literally, this is Johnny. This is Johnny's wish and request. It's in his will, and we have nothing. We have to do this. Yeah, have to.
John said so.
Yeah, in about 10-15 minutes, we're going outside. Follow us. Okay, and anybody, please, if you have a story, please come up here and drink some of Johnny's disgusting whiskey. And there's food, if you need it.
Never try.
Someone's coming to tell a story.
Do a shot of
I can. Do a half shot. We'll stick
He's drinking it out of the bottle.
Anybody? Try bottle now. Too expensive. Yeah, I was just saying, you really want good peanut butter. Oh yeah.
What he did instead of I was at a golf tournament. At least now it's golfing for
Hey, where's my shot? Where's my liquor?
Come on, Scotty.
I'm pretty sure the garlic moonshine is
Did you bring them out and stay?
There's so much irony there because it was always, we're going to get like prairie fires and shut away from John.
Did he not share the pickle whiskey with you? Be grateful.
Garlic whiskey or garlic.
I'm gonna try that next.
Yeah, that's good. That's better.
If I say something.
If you want a peanut butter whiskey, blue balls. Drank almost and tried a bottle with
I'm good with faces, but
No, I didn't see it. Like Brian?
Brian Mulrooney,
He passed. Oh, I didn't know that.
he's not on the golf, he's on the go for it. Funny and stuff and long at times.
I wasn't quite that good. It hit all the notes.
I gotta try this one. I really like that one.
Better do one.
Then I make it great. Johnny. Chartreuse.
You want to run the gamut? Not quite my birthday yet. First year of it.
I'm a drinker and a golfer. How can I golf and then drink? Started off. There's times I'm like, well, I hope we should drink it.
But
I can make
At his house, he's living with his mom. He's like, you knew him before me. And then he showed his mom. Trying to get to know me, kind of like, what are your intentions?